It's been 3 years now since the COVID-19 pandemic completely changed our lives and our sense of normalcy. This past March, people on TikTok were posting videos sharing the ways their lives have improved from March 2020 to now. Our own Amanda Muse shared some important thoughts on that trend. Take a look.
And there's this trend going on TikTok right now that's really triggering to me. It's the one that's like where you were in March 2020 versus where you are now. And I know like a lot of people are doing well, but I still feel like it's not as as it was, but I'm still in the weeds with recovering from the impact to my family, like the financial impact of job loss, the mental health aspects of job loss, the impact to my marriage, just trying to like retrain your brain on how to deal with negative situations after so much trauma. It's a lot. Anyone else feeling this? Like, I don't know.
I know, and I'm feeling it too. Joining us now to talk more about how we're really doing after the pandemic is Amanda, along with Karlyn Percil. So happy we're talking about this. I saw your post and immediately I was like in my feelings. You brought me right back there, and it's an interesting place to be because I don't necessarily have the answers as to why it's so traumatizing. But talk to me about the heaviness. So, you know, we only showed a snippet of that post, but you say there's a heaviness that you feel is still with you now.
Absolutely. I mean, something that's perhaps unique is that I share my life online, and I've been doing it for a decade. And in 2020, I mean, our life was so full of hope. My husband had got himself a new job. He's a pilot, which should already make you feel scared because it was 2020. And all of a sudden he was grounded. And it was 2 years of job loss. And just that in itself, the impact to the mental health aspect, financial, our relationship, our dynamics switched. It was everything. The kids were home. I had a grade 1 student sitting on a desk in our living room. Like, it was so painful. And then for myself, it just physically, I mean, not even to touch on that, but I looked so different in 2020. And I had time for myself. My cup was overflowing. And now I'm like, wait, I'm looking at this video on TikTok and everybody's having this glow up. And I'm sitting here like, I'm just trying to get to next week. You know, like I just don't feel like the storm hasn't parted yet for me.
Yeah, I feel that every time I look back, it takes me to an awful place, and I'm not even alone with it. My kids don't want to go back there. And we were one of the lucky ones. And that's what makes it tough to process. Like, what? We're still alive. Like, we made it. We're still working. Daddy's still working. Like, why is it so hard? Why does it feel so bad? And some people have said, well, it's also the mental load of handling your children's mental health. They did not thrive in that environment, and the homeschooling was brutal. But child-free, and you still felt it. How are you feeling when you look back versus now?
I mean, it depends on the day. I mean, I didn't even know I wasn't okay until I found myself yelling at the shoe in the shoe closet. I was trying to, I was trying to, you know, just organize, and I was so angry. I started shoving the shoe in, and I'm like, why aren't you going in? Why can't you just? And then my entire body started quivering with rage. But the interesting thing, T, is that I don't even know what I was mad at. I just knew that I needed to let it out, and I just sat on the floor with all the shoes and I cried. And I've had a lot of those moments, and they go up and down, and just holding space for everyone in the family, your friends. We've all had, my husband lost his dad to cancer throughout the pandemic. So it's, when you look back, sometimes you don't know what you'll get. So I'm just letting each day, you know, go by and see what's needed. But it depends on what day you ask me. Some days I'm good. Other days I'm sitting in that funk and I don't know how to get out.
Yes, absolutely. And that's so many of us. You know, throughout the pandemic, we heard about its effect on mothers. And you talked a little bit about how the dynamic changed in your home, your roles changed in your home. What was happening on the homestead that made it sort of a difficult time?
I think, first of all, becoming primary earner was a lot. where I was typically the default parent. So that was like a huge shift. But then it really became like I had to be everything for everybody. And at the end of the day, there was nothing left for me. Like I've been very vocal. I had a panic disorder. I was on antidepressants, off antidepressants. So it was, the impact there was huge in that just my everyday looks so different. If anything, though, looking at it now, it's almost like I'm very clear on what I need now to be like a full person. Like almost, you know that kintsugi, like the Japanese art, fix broken pottery? I'm like, okay, girl was broken, and we did a lot of stuff. And on the other side, I'm like, well, I'm so clear on what I need now, and almost it's like non-negotiables. I need to move. I need social time. But I think mothers, you're so many things to so many people. It was really hard to sift through it all to look after yourself.
They do say right across the board, mothers took a huge hit, like just in terms of the backtracking, the having to leave jobs, the having to leave businesses, the having to now all of a sudden assume all of those roles within the house and outside of the house, and it was a huge load. For me, I think what I find really frustrating is not being able to put my finger on what is making me so upset. You know, part of it was the restriction and knowing that the world had changed. Part of it is looking back to my camera roll of 2019 and seeing a lightness that I do not think I will ever get back to. No, like a security that the world will keep turning, and now that's been taken away. I don't know. I don't know what's next. Something could be next, and I didn't know something could be next. I didn't know that we could have so many deaths and just an uprising and people concerned about inequality and having that trauma thrown in our face and not really having the time to process any of that. And it's just like, it's a low-level uncertainty that I think stays with us all the time. I want to talk a little bit about processing it. I don't feel like the kids have processed it. I don't feel like I've processed it. I think that there are a lot of grown-ups sort of going around not knowing the damage that was done and not knowing how to come out on the other side. So can we talk a little bit about that, Karlyn? What do we need to process this moment in history?
Oh gosh, and I don't even think we have the answer, but I think we can start with where we are, and that's why I'm so grateful to Cityline for having those real conversations, because we can actually talk about it.
Yeah.
That's the first step. But I like what you said in your video. We need to create space to repair, right? And repair requires our full and whole truth, including the parts that, like you said, I don't know, and I don't have an answer. I can't put my finger on it. So when I think of repairing, of course, I have an acronym, because you know me, I'm the acronym queen.
That's what you do, and we love it.
The R stands for release expectation and reframe your narrative. Give yourself the gift of your full humanity. Like you said, I'm antidepressants, I'm off it, me. Yes, I am not okay sometimes. And I actually have to let my husband know that, because then he thinks like because I'm silent, like there's something wrong. I'm like, well, there is something wrong, and it's okay that there's something wrong.
Right.
I think we need as society to really give ourselves permission for that. E stands for express as you process. I find sometimes that for myself, I go back to 18-year-old Karlyn, and I'm like, oh, you've been through this before, you've been through tough times, you can do it. But 2023 Karlyn doesn't have all the answers.
Right.
She's just trying to understand and put the pieces together.
Yeah.
P stands for pain. Pain is an invitation. I think we've all heard the saying, pay attention inward now.
Yeah.
And I think giving ourselves permission to our full humanity, like you mentioned, T, you don't have all the answers, get a pain body friend. And not a pain body from let's have a pity party, let's have a humanity party, right? We're not supposed to have all the answers. And none of us have been through such a rough time before.
Yeah.
A stands for allow the tears to fall, allow the body to wail, give yourself permission. And I stands for your inner wise self is with you every step of the way, right? We will know what works for us in some circumstances, and in others we might not.
Yeah.
And R stands for create your repair plan and repeat it as often as needed.
Yeah, absolutely. I think the one thing that I will say, and listen, a lot of great things came out of the 3 years that we've been through as well, but I'm trying to say you don't need to know why, you just need to sit in it. Because I'm very big on answers and let's look at this logically and let's research this, but sometimes I'm not going to get anywhere. And so the best thing I can do for myself is give myself the grace of not knowing why and still feeling all the feels. Like, yes, I have all of these beautiful things and I'm sad. and that's okay. Sit in it. So thank you for getting this whole conversation started, Amanda. You never know what a post can do, right? And Kar, thank you for leading us and guiding us. We appreciate that. Time for a break. Lots more Cityline still ahead.